Hey guys, this is Music Lover 93, and like in the autism video, I with Michael.
Hi everybody.
And something different for this video, and this is something that we plan to talk about something. We've already talked about this stuff. As you can see, I am not in my bedroom. I'm in someone else's house make it as a second bedroom. But we're going to do something different here, and this is coming up that I've actually got inspired from Michael the System when he did like these things that he does when he used to work at xylophone from the during the pandemic. But this is something that'll be different this time, but something similar. It's about the music facts. So I'm actually come up with the idea by the name make this series called Music Facts-O-Rama, and what it is we're actually Michael and I are gonna be taking turns reading the facts, and instead of doing it like 5 of them, we're actually gonna do 10.
That's correct.
And as for this episode, since it's the very first episode of Music Facts-O-Rama, tonight it was about the Beatles. We all love the Beatles. We've been loved since I've been a fan of the Beatles since I was a kid.
Likewise. The Beatles are an amazing band, and they have written so many great songs and albums, which we're going to mention later.
Oh yeah. So this is what we're going to be doing here as we're looking at. And now, as for the facts, we really do not want to read them that's like inappropriate and some, like the negativity and stuff like that. We just wanted to make sure to keep it positive and just want to make sure the facts are true. So, without further ado, let's get on with the facts.
All right.
Okay, fact number 1. The band formed in 1960 in Liverpool, England.
That is true.
And this is pretty much what they formed before they started recording in, which also known that they think in 1962 when they did Love Me Do.
That is true. All right, fact number 2. They have 13 albums and 1 compilation album. A couple of album titles we know for a fact are Revolver, Rubber Soul, Hard Day's Night. The Beatles' one album is always good. Abbey Road. We are going to mention a couple of other albums further down the road, and one of them happens to be their very last album, like before they broke up and stuff like that. But we're going to get to that shortly.
Yeah, pretty much what we're going to get to it next. Fact number 3. The Beatles' principal members are John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. We definitely know the members of the Beatles, especially since that John Lennon and Paul McCartney are the ones who sing the most, and since Ringo Starr is the drummer, and I believe George Harrison is doing lead guitar. I think that's why he's, and he doesn't really sing very much when he was with the Beatles, but he did sing most of the solo parts after when he's not with the Beatles. So yeah, this is what they're pretty much for what was going on. So let's see, we'll get to the 4th fact.
Fact number 4. Paul McCartney and John Lennon served as the primary songwriters in the band. And as I say, they definitely wrote some great songs. I especially love how Paul McCartney sang the song The Long and Winding Road.
Oh yes, that is actually a really good song, and it was just really amazing, especially it's pretty much, it was on the Abbey Road album, and then later, I think when we were kids in the 2000s, it's on the Beatles #1 album.
Yep, the very last song on the Beatles' one album is The Long and Winding Road. All right, fact number 5, and Sam, it's your turn.
Okay, fact number 5. They also experiment with various genres of music, including Indian music, hard rock, and psychedelic music. Yeah, pretty much they go for like different genres. And if you know that there's like different instruments they play, it's not just acoustic guitar, but there's this one song, Norwegian Wood. It also includes a sitar.
I could play that song on my acoustic guitar too, and I love singing that song too, along with playing it.
Oh yes, you sing really well with that one while you're doing the guitar cover on that one, and you've done it like more than once. And
Thank you.
that is something I've perhaps I could try that one in the future when I do some acoustic covers, and it's not just Norwegian Wood but other stuff as well.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about their debut album and then their last album. I will mention what the debut album was. The name of their debut album was Please Please Me, and they released that album in 1963.
Yes, that is absolutely
So
correct.
that's fact number 6. And fact number 7, Sam will tell you the name of the album that was their last album released.
So the fact number 7 is the last album they released was Let It Be in 1970, and that was pretty much right before the Beatles broke up. So
Yep.
Let It Be is definitely one of the really good albums there, and I believe it's on. Yeah, it's also included one of the known songs in it's Paul McCartney saying "Let It Be."
Another great song on that album is One After 909, and The Long and Winding Road is on that specific album, as we mentioned before.
That's pretty much what was what this album's played, and yeah, it was. I mean, some of the other members of the Beatles just basically doing their solo stuff, which in fact, Paul McCartney also just performed with Paul McCartney and Wings.
That is true. Like
Sometime
that's
in
after the
70s.
Beatles. Yep. After the Beatles broke up, Paul McCartney went to do Paul McCartney and Wings, and one of their great songs is "Let 'Em In."
That's correct.
All right. So fact number 8. Even though the Beatles only stayed active for 10 years, from the years 1960 to 1970, they officially produced music for only 7 years.
Yep, pretty much did. If 7 years, they've been active, since somewhere in the 60s, and then through 1970. That was when I do live, it's not just in the UK, but they also perform in the States, especially in the first television, when they appeared on television, right, in the States in 1964 is, I think, the Ed Sullivan Show.
Right.
That's pretty much what the first, appeared in the States. Okay, so fact number 9. Their debut album, Please Please Me, spent 30 consecutive weeks at number 1 in the charts.
That is true.
Yeah, Please Please Me is definitely one of the, one of their debut albums. It's also included, well, of course, Please Please Me is included. Thank You Girl. There's a place, and there's also, oh, do you want to know a secret? And I think that was the first song on this album George Harrison sang.
Yep. And I actually knew that song from my first ever guitar class that I had to take at SUNY New Paltz.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's
That song is actually, it was supposed to be a basic level, but that song is not basic level. But it was fun to learn.
Oh, absolutely. I bet it's just really fun to learn it from.
All right, and our final fact tonight, fact number 10, is that in the United States, the band had 21 number 1 hits on the Billboard music charts.
Pretty much when they how much they did all these number 1 hits, like charts went from the States. So there are a lot of them that they did. And when the Beatles appeared, when there's so many like screaming fangirls, and they were like crazy from with the population of the Beatles. It's not just from the UK, but also in the US. When there were the teenage girls, and any of those girls that's like back in the 60s, they were like, of course they were much older now, but yeah, this is the population of the fangirls. Compared to today's fangirls and stuff like that. I mean, they were just like they cried, and they just like love, like I love them and stuff like that. This is what happens with teenage girls, and they have crushes. Come see, what all fangirls do.
So now, why don't we name a couple of our favorite Beatles songs that we like to listen to? Sam, you go first.
Okay, one of my number one favorite Beatles songs is "I Want to Hold Your Hand," which I think is from the Beatles, I believe, if I try to get the album correctly. Which I absolutely love the song so much.
It's also on the number one album.
Yep,
Actually, the Beatles. I should say the Beatles one album. I should say.
Yeah, it's also included that one too. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, I'll pick a song now. One of my favorite Beatles songs to sing is "Love Me Do."
Oh, "Love Me Do" is definitely one of the best ones out there, especially since it's one of the very first songs they ever recorded. You know, it was released in 1963. However, in the UK they recorded it in 1962 for when I looked it up here. So it's definitely one of the earliest ones they've done. Yeah, their early stuff is pretty good, and especially since I think the Beatles have like a few movies here. Such A Hard Day's Night is one of them.
Help is one of them.
Yep, that's correct.
I've seen the Beatles Help movie multiple times, and I even saw it with my cousins a couple of times, like when they would come to my home on Christmas Eve.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, Hard Day's Night and Help I've seen them a lot, especially since and yeah, of course, since it's 1964, it was like this particular one in Hard Day's Night is black and white, and Help is in color. It's from 1965, and there is actually another Beatles movie that's only in the UK, and it's a cartoon, Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, I saw that too.
However, it was actually not the actual members of the Beatles who voiced the Beatles. It was from different voice actors. Yeah, they're the ones they did When I'm 64 from that one. Hey Bulldog is one of them.
All Together Now is in that one. Eleanor Rigby, I believe, is in that one.
And the fun fact about Eleanor Rigby, especially since I know it's like in an orchestra, meant to be played in the orchestra, I'll let Michael go ahead and explain about Eleanor Rigby.
So Eleanor Rigby happens to be another one of my favorite Beatles songs, and fun fact, I actually conducted an arrangement of that song when I was in 8th grade in the middle school orchestra. It was at the very beginning of 2007. I actually got to be a guest conductor and conduct that little arrangement. I had so much fun doing it.
Wow, this very person to being conducted at the orchestra at age 13.
Yep, I was 13 when I did that, and it was actually 2 months before I had found out that I was diagnosed with autism.
Wow, so like even when this happened.
Yeah. True. Fun fact.
Yep. This is why I'm glad to have you to have this interesting fact about yourself, because especially the amazing amount of talents you have.
Oh, thank you, Sam. Let's each think of let's each mention 2 more of our favorite Beatles songs, and then.
Oh yeah, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah. Okay. So what's another favorite song of yours? We each talked about one so far.
Oh yes. Back in 2018, I used to take the top 10 Beatles songs that would be my favorites, but I just don't want to get too many of them because I don't want to waste too much time on many favorites. But yeah, Hey Bulldog is my second favorite, and I know my third favorite is Drive My Car. They're definitely the best ones, because especially Drive My Car that I loved in the Rubber Soul album. Do you have other favorites, Michael?
I sure do. It's hard to actually choose favorites because I listen to lots of Beatles songs nowadays. Another 2 songs that I like to listen to nowadays, Yellow Submarine, and the other one, another one that I like to listen to and also play guitar on too is Tell Me What You See from the album Help.
Oh yes.
When I play that song on guitar, I actually transpose it to a different key because I thought that key and would sound pretty cool.
Yeah,
I do it in the key of B.
They do sound sound similar to in the original how the key sounds were from that one, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
You did really well on your guitar, and you sang Tell Me What You See.
Thank you, Sam.
I think that's pretty much what we're gonna say for this, for today's episode of Music Facts-O-Rama. So, we'll do some more about this stuff. We'll just think of something that's, we'll do it per episode, and this is what we're gonna do right here for that. And it's not just like bands, but also including music artists, classical composers, which I'll definitely do it one at a time, of course, because I don't want to have too many of those that will be like, because it'll be crazy. So I figured that the Beatles will be good for our first episode. So stay tuned for that, folks. Thank you guys for watching.
If you like this video, comment a favorite Beatles song of yours too. We'd like to know what Beatles song you always enjoy listening to.
Yep. Tell me in the comments below if you have a favorite Beatles song.
Oh yeah.
So, thank you guys for watching this lovely series of Music Facts-O-Rama. This is Sam, aka Music Lover 93, signing out.
Thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.